Grind time rap, bang, 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 bang. Kill a kill right here, letting you know word is bond and word is life. If you ain't got my money, word is bond, I'm gonna take your life. I don't have a philosophy because I realize that situations are forever changing. And if you marry yourself to a particular ideology or philosophy, then you're destined to be led to some degree wrong way. I'm first and foremost a Pan-Africanist, and whatever works for distraught people of color on the bottom is what I advocate. If that's peaceful protest, I advocate it. If it's burning down government buildings, I advocate it. If it's educating yourself to a higher degree and uplifting your community, I advocate it. But I'm always on the side of the oppressed and never the oppressor. My grandparents, you know, I guess you could probably say the biggest resource and influence in my life. My grandmother's from Tuskegee, Alabama. If you heard of the Tuskegee experiment, her grandfather was one of the men used in that experiment. My grandfather's from Eatonton, Georgia. You know, my grandfather was a young man of such when he decided things weren't right in Eatonton, he raised a ruckus. They had to rush him out of town in the middle of the night, you know what I mean? So I was raised by people who were not going to bag down. They spoke truth to power. My aunt was a Panther, you know, so I was cultivated to be a man first and foremost and to stand up on behalf of black people and poor people. So, you know, I was cultivated to do this since birth. You know, I used to think that I discovered and listened to Ice Cube just because I grew up in the golden era of hip hop. But you know, I knew my grandmother marched with Dr. King before I knew, you know, before I knew what rap was. I knew that my grandfather supported unions and supporting working class people before I ever heard a PE tape. So I think it's just something that's in me, and it's also something I put in my kids. But I know you guys don't read, so let me start with what YouTube I can give you. Look up these names: John Henry Clark, Chanta Diop, Francis Cress Welsing, Claude Anderson, and then I'll say, let me give you a fun one as a fifth one. As a fifth one, look up Michael Eric Dyson, because he's funny. You'll be able to watch a lot of this stuff. And look up some of my speeches. I spoke at the Troy Davis rally, I spoke at Atlanta Area Tech, and just start with YouTube. And if stuff interests you, whatever interests you, write it down, and then go to the library, and then read books on the things that